Hello, hello! My name is Callista, and welcome back to Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair. In the last episode, the class trial was called. We have gathered as much evidence as we can, and now is the time to put everything together. I'm very excited about this. I think this case has been my favourite so far, but then again, I'm pretty sure I said that about the last one. They've just been getting better and better, and I've really liked that. So I am pretty secure in my hypothesis, shall we say. I definitely think Mikan is the killer. I think I have a pretty decent grasp on how, and as for the why, I think she just came down with a despair disease. I don't think there is any greater motivation beyond that. I think she just picked up the despair disease because she was interacting with the sick so much, and I guess she picked up the murderous disease, or, whatever. I think that's what happened. I am very excited to get into this. Now then, let's begin.
Yahoo!
It's the beginning of the long-awaited class trial! Please, enjoy it to your heart's content! And so, the curtain to the third class trial was about to open. Ibuki Miyoda, the ultimate musician. She was really loud, but she was the mood maker of our group. When I was with her, all of my pain and suffering just seemed to melt away. Hiyoko Sayonji, the ultimate traditional dancer. Just from looking at her adorable face, you'd never know she was actually selfish and foul-mouthed. But she was trying to change herself, and she was desperately trying to come to terms with Mahiru's death. The second half of that sentence, yeah, she was desperately trying to come to terms with the death of her only friend. She was not trying to change herself. I really don't understand how not apologizing for your actions and just pretending you never did them somehow constitutes you trying to change your ways. It doesn't. It doesn't, but the game doesn't take any of the women seriously, so why would they put any serious effort into developing them? The person who killed those two is among us. I definitely can't believe it. But whether I believe it or not is irrelevant. Unless I figure out the truth, I won't be able to escape from this hell. That's why I must find out, no matter the cost. For our sake. For our friends' sake. For Ibuki and Hiyoko's sake. And so, the curtain to the third class trial was about to open. This life-threatening trial, billowing with hope and despair, has begun. I don't need to. I have a save from 2 minutes ago. Okie doke. Let's take a look at our skills. So these are the ones we have. I believe I have all of the ones that were recommended to me. I don't believe I need to grab any others. Let's... Again, just where was it? It was in report card. Usami? Oh, we only have 5. Okay. Okay, yeah, the ones with get I've already gotten. Okay. Let's see, just for argument's sake, reduces your aiming speed. That could be good. Melodious voice. PTAs are the ones I don't like. Yeah, let's... You know what? I think I'm gonna grab that. Okay, and let's make sure it's set. Yeah, I was about to say, I do have the necessary skill points. Yeah, I have plenty. Not cheat code. Melodious voice. There we go. And with that, I think I'm good. All rise.
Now then, let's begin with a simple explanation of the class trial. During the class trial, you will present your arguments for who the killer is and vote for who done it. If you vote correctly, then only the blackened will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong person, I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and that person will earn the right to leave this island. Oh well, who cares about this boring explanation? Let's get on with it already!
I mean, I need explanations. I always forget the key bindings in between trials, so I would love more explanations.
I don't mind starting the trial, but I don't really have a grasp of how the case played out. You know, because I was asleep the whole time.
Even if you do grasp it, you're just gonna confuse the heck out of us, aren't you?
In this case, no, I don't think he is. Because how do I want to put this? Nagito views himself as an agent of hope. That is his entire thing. He is there to make sure that hope succeeds. Whether that is the hope of us or the hope of the killer, that is irrelevant. All he cares is that the strongest hope wins. In this case, this wasn't a crime of hope. This was a crime of despair because Mikan had the despair disease. In that moment, she was not an agent of hope trying to get off the island. She was acting as an agent of despair. So I think he's taken that personally. So in this case, I think he has no interest in confusing anyone. He's just like, yeah, kill the bitch. Do it. She had the despair disease and no, get rid of her.
But Nagito's not alone. I don't really get it either.
You're fine. Your head's empty anyway.
Hey, she says useful stuff sometimes.
Empty head? Huh. What's wrong with that? Listen up. The emptier your head, the more dreams you can stuff inside it, you know?
That's real nice, Akane, but can we please focus on the murder?
Anyway, we shouldn't proceed with the trial if those two can't participate in the arguments. Since he's the first witness, why don't we ask Hajime to explain the incident and the sequence of events?
Okay.
Then, let's start with when we split into the hospital team and motel team because of the despair disease. The hospital team consisted of Nagito, Ibuki, and Akane, who were infected, and Mikan, Fuyuhiko, and me.
The other 5 on the motel team were myself, Gundam, Kazuichi, Chiaki, and Hiyoko.
Spending the night at the hospital was prohibited, so Hajime and I had to sleep at our cottages.
I woke up at my cottage on the day the incident happened. Mikan came by to wake me up and told me that Nagito had recovered from his symptoms. We immediately headed over to the hospital, and after we confirmed his recovery, I made Mikan rest in the on-call room since she hadn't slept all night, while I waited in the hospital lobby. And then, I saw the incoming signal light on the surveillance camera blinking before our scheduled time. When I pressed the button to turn on the monitor, what appeared on screen was a video of someone wearing a hospital gown and a hemp bag on their head, climbing a stepladder. Amazing! That's such a heart-pounding story! And then what did you do, Hajime?
Nagito's trying to support his boyfriend here. He's like, yeah, Do it, buddy, do it! Oh.
I tried to stop them, of course. I rushed out of the hospital and ran to where the video was being recorded, the music venue. But it was too late. By the time I arrived, the person wearing the hemp bag on their head was already hanging from the ceiling. I thought I should tell the others right away, so I headed to the motel.
Why the motel?
Because it was close to the music venue, and unlike the hospital, there were more able-bodied people there. At least, that's what I thought. But the only person who came with me was Chiaki.
But I remember feeling a little relieved because not long after, we met up with Mikan and Fuyuhiko.
We were also looking for Ibuki since she disappeared from our sight.
After I rested for a bit, I started counting everyone at the hospital. And then I noticed Ibuki was gone, so I sprinted out of the hospital. Coincidentally, I ran into Fuyuhiko, so I pled with him in various ways to see if he could help me out.
Why is that a necessary detail? Again, I've said for a while this is an act. Like, from the very beginning of the game, I've thought she's putting... Let's try that again. I've thought she was putting on a persona. Again, all the other times I don't think it was malicious. It was, I want these people to not bully me, so I'm gonna make sure they realize just how weak I am, and then they'll all feel badly for me, and then they won't pick on me. That isn't in and of itself malicious. It's a lie, but it's not a malicious lie. Like, I would argue that is a very understandable position to take, given her past. But right now, this is malicious. This right here is malicious, because she's actively working against us. And I get, why do you need to specify that? I played with him in various ways. Like, why? You're raising my suspicion. That is unnecessary information, and it's just like, girl,
Various ways?
Don't say it like that and confuse people.
Yeah. I get it's all to obfuscate. It's all because everyone's gonna look at him. No one's gonna look at her because the game devs don't give a shit about, portraying women in a fully realized way. Like, no, let's blame the guys. Like, oh, woman's doing something bad, blame the guys. Who cares about what she's up to? So that obviously they're all gonna start looking at Fuyuhiko suspiciously.
After I heard from those two that Ibuki disappeared, I had a feeling she was the person wearing the hemp bag. So I immediately led them to the music venue.
But the door wouldn't open. Since we had no other option, the four of us broke down the door. And when that happened, we didn't just find Ibuki's body. We also found Hiyoko's. And not just that. Her body was taped to a pillar.
That's when we heard the body discovery announcement. Not once, but twice in a row.
And so we decided to lower the hanged body, didn't we?
When we removed the hemp bag, just as we feared, it was Ibuki.
So that's how the case played out. Thank you. I understood it very easily.
Well, it's clear what the problem with this case is. When Hajime left the music venue, who...
Wait, how do I know anything Hajime just said is true?
I mean, he's got a good point. I mean, we know, because we're the player, and we witnessed it all, it all happened, but Nagito does bring up a good point. How does anyone know that Hajime is telling the truth? Huh?
Sorry, I'm only being impartial right now. And the story I just heard is clearly suspicious.
Again, I don't see any problem with this. Better to prove our story and then, fully dismiss anyone's doubts than let them linger and then that potentially hangs over the entire trial. So I have absolutely no issue with Nagito's behavior right now. I think this is actually a pretty smart thing to do.
Hajime, If you're the only one who saw the hanging video, and the first one to discover Ibuki's body, then you could be lying as much as you want right now, right?
He could,
Lie? Why would I lie?
because you could be the killer.
Obviously. So you could make us ignore what might be an inconvenient truth for you.
Do you doubt me?
If you're not lying, I would like you to prove it. Come on, try to prove it to me. Prove you're not the killer.
Yeah. It's just as Kazuichi said. Nagito's the kind of guy who'll just confuse us and make matters worse. Or he's gonna dismiss the possibility that you could be the killer, and instead we can actually focus on solving the crime rather than running around in circles being like, oh, is Hajime telling the truth? Is he lying? Ba 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 ba. Damn it, I shouldn't have explained it to Nagito. I'm in trouble now thanks to that. No, you're not. You're just very biased. Don't get me wrong, I'm biased too. I make no secret of that. I'm very biased, but... Ooh.
Hajime's testimony is clearly suspicious.
If Hajime's testimony is a lie, then the fact that Ibuki hung herself...
That would also be a lie.
I don't think I can deny that possibility. After all, Hajime's the only witness.
Why would Hajime lie?
Well, obviously because he's the killer.
Did Hajime kill both of them?
The fact that the bodies were imitating the movie means it probably is Hajime's fault.
I know! Let me just explain what I was thinking. To finish my original point, I am very biased. However, I am also very capable of saying, like, okay, where is this character coming from? What's going on with them? Ba 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 ba. Whereas Hajime is just like, Nagito wasn't what I expected, so fuck him. Mikan immediately jumped on that. I did notice that. Mikan immediately jumped onto like, oh yeah, he's the killer. This is also Nagito can clear us. Hajime, this guy wants to be your boyfriend. This guy wants to date you. He's going out of his way to prove your innocence, dude. As soon as I saw, the movie ticket thing, I was like, is this where you're going? It is. I'm not the killer. There should be a contradiction somewhere, and I almost had it. But I missed. I need to find that and break through.
Hajime's testimony is clearly suspicious.
If Hajime's testimony is a lie...
It is not.
Then the fact that Ibuki hung herself...
But it's understandable that you might think
that would also be a lie.
I don't think I can deny that possibility. After all, Hajime's the only witness.
Why would Hajime lie?
Well, obviously because he's the killer.
Did Hajime kill both of them?
The fact that the bodies were imitating...
No, that's wrong! I'm not the killer! I mean, there's no way I'd be able to imitate that movie.
Of course you're not. I already knew that.
Yeah. He just wanted to he wanted to dispel the doubt. And, Hajime, this guy, he wants to be your boyfriend. He wants to date you, dude.
Huh?
Before the incident, Hajime had never watched that movie. His invitation ticket is proof of that. Each person only received one ticket, and they're marked with a stamp that shows the date and time. Isn't that right, Monokuma?
Yes, no mistakes there.
Which means there's no way Hajime, who never saw the movie, could commit murders that imitated it. Or did anyone tell him what happens in the movie? Of course no one did, right?
Hold on a sec! You're the one who brought this up in the first place!
Again, just because someone brings something up doesn't mean they believe that. I could bring up the idea that lizard people run the world. I don't believe that theory, though. Again, better to dispel potential side questions than leave them on the board and run the risk of getting confused later on.
Nagito, what are you doing?
Proving your innocence, you dipshit.
Well, since we're opening with your witness testimony, I thought we should solidify the foundation. It also provides a good warm-up.
Now you're just being creepy.
What warm-up? This isn't a game, you know.
Don't get mad. I just think warming up is really important. Especially since this isn't a game.
What a waste of time. Well, I knew it would turn out like this anyway.
Again, that wasn't a waste of time. We have established that Hajime is telling the truth. Again, they're being very biased against Nagito right now, and they're not seeing what he's doing. I can understand why they'd be biased. He does tend to overspeak, and he doesn't put his thoughts plainly. Like, I'm sure if he said, I thought it would be best to establish that Hajime was telling the truth by showing undeniable proof that he couldn't have set this up, so that way we wouldn't be chasing our tails later. I'm sure if he said that plainly, they would all be like, oh yeah, of course, that does make sense. And the fact that he's not just saying that, the fact that he's kind of got this very... what's the word I'm looking for? He's got this persona of, you know, I'm always 3 steps ahead of you. I'm the smartest person in the room. I'm also the most, cryptic. Like, he's got this persona, and I've got to be honest, it's not a particularly pleasant persona. People who think they're the smartest people in the room, that's generally a trait I dislike. I'm just like, no thank you, I don't want to fuck about with you. But he is genuinely doing something that is rather helpful. And I'm just like, I get it, you don't like the guy. But why can't you acknowledge you are actually being helpful? I'm just... meh.
Now then, since we know Hajime's testimony is reliable, let us move on to the arguments.
So this means Ibuki definitely climbed the stepladder all by herself, right?
I mean, yes and no? She could have climbed the stepladder by herself, but she would have had to be told to do so, so she would have been... That's not exactly her doing something off her own back. That's her being influenced.
Yeah, I'm positive.
Then that seals it! Ibuki committed suicide!
If Ibuki committed suicide, then who killed Hiyoko?
The person who told Ibuki to commit suicide. I still think there's a pretty good chance that Mikan just strangled Ibuki. Like, I could go either way with that, if I'm being honest. Either Mikan told Ibuki, hey, climb the ladder and put your head through the noose, or she could have strangled her with some rope and then attached that to the baton lighting and then raised it up. But either way, if she told her, hey, commit suicide, Ibuki was still influenced to do that. She wouldn't have done that but for Mikan telling her to do so.
A murder coincidentally occurring in the same place as a suicide ain't possible, huh?
Like I said before, it's pretty clear what the problem with this case is. The killer murdered Hiyoko while Hajime was gone. So all we gotta do is establish who could have possibly done that.
Then let's ask Hajime. How long would you say you were away from the music venue?
Not long enough for Hiyoko to be killed and taped to a pillar.
I couldn't have been gone for more than 10 minutes.
So they killed Hiyoko and taped her up within 10 minutes? There's no way that's possible.
Exactly.
That's why the killer stalled for time by making the music venue a closed room.
What do you mean, a closed room?
The killer blocked the venue door from the inside to try and keep us from entering right away.
However, that door is the only entrance to the music venue, right? If they blocked the door from the inside, the killer would not have been able to leave either.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Which means, when we broke down the venue door, the killer was still inside.
Except they weren't, because everyone arrived as a group, like, a couple of minutes later.
They were?
No, and you know they weren't.
If that's the case, the only suspicious people are those who don't have an alibi for that time. And that's you two! Sonia and Kazuichi!
Me too?
What the hell? Why's it gotta be us?
Because no one saw you.
The others all have alibis. Chiaki, Mikan, Hajime, and I all broke down the venue door together. Gundam met up with Hajime at the motel right before that. And if Akane and Nagito were laid up in the hospital, the only person that leaves is one of you.
There's another person who doesn't have an alibi. You know, Nekomaru. Me too!
Nice impression.
Hey, why are you talking like... Huh? You're kidding, right? You're not up to something weird, are you?
Please stop making bad jokes.
Anyway, if the killer was hiding inside the venue, we should obviously doubt the people who don't have alibis.
What a wicked way of backing us into a wall! Is this his professional skill?
The killer was inside the music venue. Fuyuhiko obviously thinks so, but... is that really it? Okay, make your argument. Oh, we want the glob.
The killer was still inside the music venue. By locking the door from the inside, they tried to keep us from getting in.
I'm inclined to watch
It
this all the way
seems they were
through.
trying to stall for time.
That's probably...
How did they lock the door? That door should not have had a lock.
The lock was on the floor in front of the door.
Are you talking about the broken drumstick?
No.
You can use that as a bolt to lock the door. By doing that, the killer who was hiding inside waited till we gathered together and suddenly appeared.
No, I think we want the first
So
one.
they looked like they had just rushed over.
I have seen this in serial crime dramas.
Oh yeah, it happens a lot. It happens a lot, but if everyone arrives at the same time, then that person's remark contradicts the truth. I should be able to prove that with my evidence.
The killer was still inside the music venue. By locking the door from the in...
No, that's wrong! Hold on a sec. There's also a possibility that the door was locked from the outside.
From the outside? How?
There was a semi-transparent glob stuck to the venue door. Maybe that's what they used.
Semi-transparent glob? Like rubber, maybe?
Probably not rubber, something sticky. It wasn't rubber at all. That semi-transparent glob was probably, gummy, gum, rubber, or glue. I mean, my gut says glue.
I see! That semi-transparent glob must have been glue.
Yeah, that... if you had, like, a really strong glue, then that would... if you just shook it, then it could stick, but then after a couple of bangs, yeah, you'd be able to knock... Yeah, that does make sense.
Glue?
Yeah, I think so too. It had a firm, gel-like chewiness, and I could smell workshop chemicals the moment I put it in my mouth.
Why were you putting shit in your mouth, Chiaki? You nasty bitch. Don't do that. Don't put random things you find indoors in your mouth.
Based on all that, I'm certain it was glue.
I didn't know glue was edible.
It's not. Don't eat it.
I believe it is not something one typically eats.
That glue was only applied to the areas where both doors touched. By pouring it in the gaps of the closed door, they must have sealed the venue door from the outside.
And thanks to that, a glob of glue was left where the door was stuck. Yep, It fits perfectly.
But if you just stick them together with glue, you'd be able to break down the door easily, you know?
I mean, it depends on what type of glue. If it's like a kid's sticky glue that they take to kindergarten with them, then yeah, you'd be able to do that easily. But if it's like a professional glue, like Gorilla Glue or something like that, not sponsored, can you imagine if I was sponsored by Gorilla Glue? Solving murders with the help of Gorilla Glue. But like, if you got something like industrial, then I'm sure that would hold. Yeah, that Mikan, you're trying to... I see what you're doing, Mikan. I don't trust you. You know what? I'm gonna bring this episode to a close right here. In the next one, we're gonna talk more about glue. But until then, please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below, and if you wanted to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I've been Callista. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.